Alright, what is up guys? So I am back with another Zoids review. This time I am taking a look at a Zoid from my friend Brad's collection, and he and I had talked and decided that I'd be able to take a look at some of the pieces that he has for his collection that I don't own and probably don't have a very likely chance of getting a hold of. And this one in particular is very special because this is a very unique high-end master model kit that he procured while in Japan in person at a physical retailer. And this is the Geno bone color version high-end master model. And this kit is originally based off of a motorized Geno that came out in 2005 for Dinosaur Expo. And then they decided for Dinosaur Expo 2019 that they were going to recreate the museum Geno and make it into a high-end master model. So essentially this kit is exactly the same as a regular high-end master model Geno, but it does have the new coloration, and it has that sort of limited value to it there. So in addition to this kit was also a gun sniper that was released in the bone color version as well. And this is more closely based off of the original HMM Geno than on the Psycho Geno that I've already reviewed. So there are a couple of differences in the kit that I'd like to talk about. But initially, like I said, this kit was only released for Dinosaur Expo 2019, and then was later a Koto Store exclusive. So they're very difficult to get their hands on, but apparently some physical retailers in Japan still had them, and Brad just happened to come across it while in Japan that same year. So as far as differences with this kit compared to the Psycho Geno the Psycho Geno added some newly molded pieces to add the additional details that Zoid uniquely had in the anime, such as it has a unique crown on the top of its head there, whereas that's replaced with the simple cannon here on the standard Geno, which actually does look very cool. And I do have to admit that the metallic silver color that these pieces are molded in really does pop very nicely, and it doesn't really imply that you would need any kind of paint applications on this thing. It already comes out of the box looking very, very nice. And you can see sort of that silver highlight there on the charge particle barrel in its mouth there and along the spine of it. So every single sort of unit along the body all the way to the tail has that silver highlight in there, the piping. And it really does kind of pop quite nicely. I mentioned in the Psycho Geno review that the construction of these things is very finicky. And Brad will go on to say as well that the tail in particular is the most challenging part of it, where each of these little fins that pop out to represent the ventilation for the charged particle gun and also the stabilizers are pretty finicky to put together, because you have this external piece right here. You have the piece that actually attaches on a hinge to the inside of the tail section, and then two more fins that sort of pop out underneath there. And it makes sense when you're on the first section of the tail, but as you get closer and closer to the end, those little fins get smaller and smaller and more difficult to put together. So that can be quite a challenge there. This kit is very stable. It does stand up incredibly easily even on its own, but it also has the advantage of the little stabilizer fins that pop down underneath of its ankles there for the charge particle beam. So it does kind of hold itself together very well. And of course it has that classic HMM level of detail and complexity, and also a range of articulation with it as well. So overall it's a very, very nice kit. And if you guys want to get your hands on a Geno HMM, they are reissuing the generic standard Geno and it should be coming out this month. I know we talked about in previous videos how that kit was pretty much impossible to find because they sort of bought it out on the secondary market. Well, it is coming back. A lot of sites already have their pre-orders closed for it, but it should be available pretty soon. And it may actually be one of those kits that's being licensed for distribution over here in the West as well, so definitely keep your eye on that. But in addition to some of the other details that were changed for the Psycho Geno is this one does not have the missile pods on the side of the legs like that one does. You get to see all the leg detail. And the translucent color as well here is all this orange. So you have the orange eyes, where this clear piece right here was just sort of regular white clear on the Psycho Geno with a different colored eye you could put in, either green or red, and it sort of shows through the translucent plastic there. But even though both the the sort of visor and the eye are both orange here on the bone Genosaurer, the thickness of the plastic still allows it to show through regardless. And then back here on the back of the leg, as well as the, oops, the tail's coming a little bit loose there. I want to be careful there. But on the back of the legs, you see the same thing back here, which is pretty cool. The twin barrel pulse cannon here is a little bit stiff, and I want to be very careful moving that. Should have a degree of articulation with it as well, and the individual barrel should be able to move independently, which is quite nice. I believe as well, just like on the other Genosaurer model kits, the core sits right here in the center. We can go ahead and pop that out and show that off. And the pilot is, you can't actually see the pilot fully, but it's just a silver painted generic pilot, no Raven pilot or Reese pilot or anything like that for this kit. But the cockpit for this one, very much like a Gundam, sits directly inside the chest instead of in the head like most Zoids do. So in theory, you know, maybe a Genosaurer could continue to fight even without its head attached, if it were to come to that. So we'll just have to pop the core back in there like so. So I'm probably going to cut this one pretty short and just sort of summarize and say, of course, it is a very nice kit, but it is also very rare. You're going to have a very hard time finding one in the secondary market because this kit was a limited release, and importing it is going to be very difficult. There is still a lot more lore discussion I want to do around the Genosaurer, but I think we're going to wait until we do the review of the generic Genosaurer HMM. And then Brad also has a motorized Genosaurer as well that I believe it's the clear one that was released for the European Tomy line. So it is a English clear motorized Genosaurer, but it's not, it was never released under the Hasbro line, but it was like a Toys R Us exclusive from back in the day. So we'll still be able to do a motorized to HMM comparison for the Genosaurer as well, and that video will be down the road. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.